Hello and welcome to a new graphic novel review by me, Andrew Ace. You spell my last name though, U-Y-S. And you can find me online on Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere, at UYS999. That's my sort of online handle. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite writers, Jonathan Hickman. Now, any writer, any artist, any series, there's going to be more books than I have in my personal collection. But that said, these are the books that even when I've read the single issues or the digital issues or what have you, I've gone out and bought the graphic novel so I can have it in my own library, so I can pick it up anytime I want to read it again, and so I can share it and recommend it to friends. So, Jonathan Hickman, he came to my attention, and maybe, it's bad saying that because, there's usually like 15 other titles they've worked on previously, but he came to my attention once he started working on Fantastic Four. Now, just prior to Jonathan Hickman, actually Mark Millar had taken a turn at Fantastic Four, so I don't want to say the first writer or the only writer to have made the first family of Marvel cool again, but certainly Jonathan Hickman delivered a great family-oriented, action-packed, dynamic storyline that had this really big pivotal moment that was kind of interesting, because I don't want to spoiler it, and yet at the same time, like, Marvel and Jonathan Hickman spoke to the media and said, like, this death is not final, but people still went nuts for it. And it was like, well, they're going to bring him back. And they're like, we are telling you we're going to bring him back. But anyway, if you read this run, there's like 7 or 8 graphic novels, but there's some great moments, some fantastic storytelling, and again, this is the type of story where it doesn't really matter what's being retconned later, or what new events changed everything, or even what's necessarily come prior. You can pick up this book, you can enjoy it for what it is, and that is that it's a great read. So, Fantastic Four by Jonathan Hickman. Now, after his time in Fantastic Four, and being very much aware that I really enjoyed the material being put out by Jonathan Hickman, it was no surprise or that I immediately picked up his Avengers run. Now, I'm an Avengers fan, and I really liked Brian Michael Bendis' run on the title. I thought it was phenomenal. So it was definitely some big shoes that he was stepping in to fill. And this was also the time where, I won't lie, I was getting a little bit sort of comic book fatigued, especially from the big events and the multiple crossovers. And Avengers, unfortunately, has a lot of that. At the time that this series was launched, this might have been the only one, but certainly very quickly, you have Avengers, New Avengers, Avengers World. I'm suddenly, on camera, drawing a blank. But at the time, I still remembered, you'd potentially be reading 4 or 5 titles a month just to kind of be following this main Avengers plotline. And that is a drawback. I won't lie. I love Jonathan Hickman's writing. I'm only reviewing people that I like. But, when you're trying to, say, maybe limit the amount of money that you're spending, it's harder on some of these bigger titles, especially Avengers, so much in the media, in movies. So Marvel's very much pushing the title. But, that said then, in turn, they have their best writers and their best artists and some phenomenal storylines happening. And this run has, again, whoa, I want to look behind me, there's some of it there, it's going to 6 I'm seeing, but then there's, Out of Time was the event, and all of this builds into what I really liked in terms of a phenomenal, big crossover event, even though I was saying, feeling fatigued, but with Secret Wars. Yeah, Secret Wars. There's a Secret War, and there's an original Secret Wars, and all these titles get a little bit confusing at times. But this came out not too long ago. Let's take a look. The soft cover came out 2016. So it's January 2018. We're talking a year plus back. And I really dug this event. I won't lie. It built out of all the different Avengers material that Hickman had been working on, all these different storylines coming together. And at the same time, it then expanded out and encompassed the rest of the Marvel Universe. And in a way, it is a bit of a retcon. It is, I don't know, maybe it's more like Crisis on Infinite Earths, which, really was a retcon, but kind of then became more just of the multiverse changing or something like that. So I think sort of the same could be said here. I don't think they want to label it they don't want to label it a retcon, but certainly this is a great breakpoint. I haven't really been keeping up with as many comics past this, because this does bring in a way, a conclusion to a lot of stories. And a complaint of some readers is that stories don't get conclusions, that, a writer gets moved to a different title, plot lines just get dropped, and I'm sure there's on the internet lists of famous storylines that never really wrapped up. Well, Hickman gets that, and he delivers a phenomenal storyline. It does have countless little crossovers and other booklets that are sort of graphic novellas that go with it. I've collected some of them. I'll do a Focus Secret Wars review later, but certainly some are good, some suck, and frankly, if you just buy the main book, you're still going to really enjoy the story. I read this through before even worrying about any of the other material, and it didn't bother me. The art is phenomenal. I've reviewed this book briefly before because I'm a big fan of Esad Ribic, the artist, and I love everything he does. So honestly, even if Jonathan Hickman had just sent in a script that went I would have thought, oh my god, this is stunning artwork. Thankfully, Jonathan Hickman sends in a bit more of a complex script than my stuttering, gibbery gobbledygook, and instead we get a storyline that is, the universe has ended, the Marvel multiverse has ended, and there's now God Doom. And he rules this world forged out of the remnants of all the different Marvel multiverses. So it gives Marvel a chance to put every single character from every alternate reality and whatever have you, Age of Apocalypse, Old Man Logan, anything you can think of, and that comes in here. They have a little map at the beginning somewhere that sort of shows you the battle world. I'm trying to find it, of course. Now, of course, I couldn't find it at all. Let's see if maybe it's nope, not at the back either. There was a there we go. Here's a map. And so you can see they divided into, sort of a Hulk world, and there's a 2099 world, and then there's, beyond the shield, the wall, there's all the zombie plagues and the so forth. Great fun to read. Really a lot of cool artwork involved. I can't recommend this book highly enough. Even just for a standalone, pick it up, enjoy it, read. Or if you're like me and you're looking for maybe a getting out of comics point, this would be the book to conclude on. So, listen, Jonathan Hickman, like a lot of other writers these days, has done some work for Image Comics. And at Image, the creators are really getting to come up with their own ideas, their own series, really whatever they want to. And way back when, I think even before Fantastic Four, I should mention that I got a chance to meet Nick Pitara, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, while I was down at Wizard World Philly. Actually, me and a friend did an interview for Panel Culture, a podcast that we were doing at the time. And this is a time travel fighter jet. It's a pretty weird tale. That said, a lot of fun to read, especially if you're sort of a sci-fi fan as myself, and I can't recommend it enough. What's even better though, and probably my favorite work done by Jonathan Hickman, really some of the best comic book sequential storytelling in the business at the moment, and that's East of West. So that's Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta, and the artwork, phenomenal. The storytelling, just out of this world. I'm looking for a neat page to show you without giving away too much. But the premise is an alternate history Earth where the apocalypse, the biblical apocalypse, is about to occur, and you have the Pale Rider, you have the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, except not everything's going to plan, and that's where obviously things get interesting. The 7th volume just came out, I think. I should know, I just read it, but so the thing, phenomenal reads, every single volume. I just want to pick up the next even faster. It's one of the few series where I'm not reading the single issues, just so that the graphic novel is a total surprise treat. And it's really hard waiting the time periods in between and not trying to spoiler it or anything. What's obviously amazing is that, well, you don't have to read anything else. So it's just saying, there's no tie-in books, there's no crossover books, there's no larger verse than what is being presented here, and yet what is presented here is such a rich and detailed world such mythology, culture. You know, they've taken elements of biblical scripture, but they've worked it into Eastern and Native American, you know, mythology and philosophy and history. And so I don't want to say that this is solely a product of Western culture, and at the same time, I'm not even sure it's really a product of anyone's culture other than Jonathan Hickman's amazing imagination. Check it out, East of West. What I should just stress really quickly though, this is mature readers. This book deals with some very dark, mature matter that's, if not 16 plus, definitely 18 plus. Maybe, you know, maybe if you're a very mature reader, teenager, he might want to check this out. But I definitely, as a parent, flip through this first. I would have loved to read this at 16, but as a parent myself, yeah, mature readers. So guys, my name is Andrew Ace. You can find me online at UYS999. If I've missed a Jonathan Hickman book that you thought I should review, tell me about it. Maybe I haven't read it, maybe it's not in my collection. I can always do another review. And I'm going to come back on a Secret Wars material, and I'm sure I'm going to see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.